Okay, I'm going to admit, this is not the review I planned to make to end this year. We will get back to our regular schedule, but recent events put me in a position where I have to do this. You all know that South Park is not one of my favorite shows, but it was a little more than a year ago that I showed you there was one episode that I actually found entertaining. However, I will admit that Osama bin Laden Has Farty Pants is not the only episode of South Park that I can give praise to. There are a select few here and there where I will give credit where credit is due for good writing and comedy because they didn't rely just on jokes that 13-year-olds should consider lame. So you all know what's coming because you've seen the title, and I think you all know why I'm reviewing this, and if you don't, we'll get to that. So for now, let's get started with the South Park two-part episode, Cartoon Wars. The episode opens with a typical evening in South Park, Colorado.
Son!
What?
Get up! Get your shoes on! Gotta get out of here! Move!
Yep, the town's rioting. Must be Wednesday.
Kyle, what the hell is going on this time? I have no idea.
I'll give Trey and Matt props for admitting how often they've used this plot device. If only other shows like The Soaps could be that tongue-in-cheek. Your father has a brain tumor, and he's suffering from amnesia. Again?!
Dad, what the hell is going on?
A cartoon.
Oh no, they found the lost episodes of Alan Gregory!
Which cartoon is it?
The cartoon that's always pushing buttons with their careless toilet humor. Family Guy!
Almost as bad! Yeah, everyone's up in arms because Family Guy is planning to air an episode featuring Mohammed, and South Park has decided this is going to start World War III. Isn't that just the thing? Your town gets flattened by a giant mecha Streisand once, and suddenly everyone gets paranoid.
Oh, come on, people. You really think anybody's gonna be that pissed off about a cartoon?
At least until Mr. Pickles debuts?
The news has already sparked a shockwave of protests throughout the Muslim world. All over the Middle East, Muslims are burning American flags and Family Guy posters.
Oh sure, the news will point this out, but they completely ignore all the protests and threats from the Christians over GCB.
It's okay. We're alive. We're alive!
And the worst part is these people still didn't act half as ridiculously paranoid as Dallas did with the Ebola scare. It turns out the episode was censored at the last minute. Fortunately, Kyle recorded the episode so they can see what happened.
I can't believe you invited your old high school sweetheart over for dinner.
You think that's bad? Remember when I auditioned to be David Hasselhoff's car? Hey there, Knight Rider.
After those bad guys, Kit.
The uncanny resemblance to an actual episode of Family Guy is frightening.
Come on, Muhammad, let's get some tea.
You boys know you're not supposed to watch that careless show.
Mom, it was nothing. Muhammad just stood there and then drank some tea.
You boys don't understand anything.
It's good to know that ever since she almost destroyed the world with her moral outrage, Mrs. Bravlovsky has learned nothing. As the kids are given Muslim sensitivity training, which to me still isn't as unsettling as the sight of Ms. Garrison, it's broken on the news that the next episode of Family Guy will feature Muhammad again, and the writers have demanded that it be uncensored. Somehow, this turns Cartman into a social justice warrior.
You guys, this is serious. We have to do something. We have to go to Fox Network in LA. We have to go and try to get that episode pulled. All right, dude, what the hell has gotten into you? I don't trust for 1 second that your sudden concern for the Muslim people is real.
Why? Just because he called them sand monkeys and treated bin Laden like he was Elmer Fudd?
All right, fine, Kyle. Forget the Muslim faith for a minute. People can get hurt. If 10 people die because Family Guy just had to have their little joke, will you still think it's funny? What if 100 people die? Will it be funny then, Kyle?
Wow. Cartman just might be the most brilliant mastermind in the world. Seriously, that entire spiel actually gets Kyle so afraid that he forgets where it came from and actually agrees to help Cartman.
We can try and get the episode pulled together. You know, we might not even make it into the studio. I know, but just like you, I feel like I have to try. People can really get hurt. And a joke just isn't worth that. So what made you change your mind? I got some sound advice from an old friend.
If that was meant to be a touching moment, you failed miserably. At the same time that they head off to California, the people of South Park come up with a way to stop the crisis as only their minds can.
We bury our heads in sand.
That's ridiculous. Look, what we need to do is just the opposite. Freedom of speech is at stake here, don't you all see? If anything, we should all make cartoons of Muhammad and show the terrorists and the extremists that we are all united in the belief that every person has a right to say what they want.
Well, he's dead.
I like the sand idea.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, the sand thing sounds a lot simpler.
I think I put the South Park adults too low on my list of stupidest characters.
And in just a few weeks from now, Family Guy will be off the air forever. Off the air? But we're just going to try to get the Muhammad episode pulled. It's simple television economics, Kyle. All it takes to kill a show forever is get one episode pulled.
Yeah, I take back what I said about Cartman being brilliant. You had him, Cartman! All you had to do was wait until after you convinced them to pull the episode before revealing your master plan, and you would have won! You've become a freaking Bond villain!
I am nothing like Family Guy. When I make jokes, they are inherent to a story. Deep, situational, and emotional jokes based on what is relevant and has a point. Not just one random interchangeable joke after another.
No, I take that back. Cartman has become something far worse. He's become Brian Griffin. Seriously, you can't tell me that's pretty much Trey Parker and Matt Stone venting their own frustrations out of Cartman's fat maw. So now Kyle realizes he has to stop Cartman, and this leads into one of the silliest Mario Kart parodies in history.
Jesus, Mary!
Oh man, I hate it when I get the Dr. Pepper can! I don't know why they haven't removed that weapon from the game!
No!
Oh crap, Cartman really means business if he's willing to sacrifice the cheesy poofs.
You son of a bitch! I won't let you win! You hear me? Suck my balls, Kyle!
Meanwhile, the brain-dead townfolk realize there's a tiny flaw in their plan.
Who's gonna bury the last person's head?
Yes, I'm afraid one person is going to have to be last and not have his head in the sand.
I'll do it.
Dylan, no!
You realize by not burying your head in sand, you'll appear to be a part of the Family Guy audience.
You have to understand. I'm all she has. Who are those people?
Oh, come on, you guys! They live on the other side of South Park, over there!
Well, we don't go there.
Yeah, you go over there, you may never come back.
At the same time, the president tries to get Fox to pull the episode, but it seems there is something about Family Guy's writing staff. What sordid secret lies within the Family Guy writing staff? And will Kyle be able to thwart Cartman's master plan? Well, fortunately, you won't have to wait a week because we've got... Chief, we got a problem! The North Koreans are threatening to shut down your site! What? What the hell for? They know you were behind that campaign to get everyone to watch Team America last Saturday! For frack's sake, we gotta take a break, people, while I deal with an international incident. Stupid little Korean pisser! everything secure? Relax, nothing gets behind our firewalls. Do you want us to just keep monitoring and beefing up security? No. We're going on the offensive. Strike back hard and strike back fast. I trust you two's judgment. Come up with an attack plan that's gonna make these people wish they never heard of us! So, let's continue. So part 2 opens showing, oh crap, they did it again! No, it's meant to show how Terrence and Philip had their show censored as well, and you know what? You do have to give credit to the Canadians for not rioting and how this show always depicts them. As Kyle makes his way to what I think was the same truck stop at the beginning of Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown, Cartman manages to sneak past Fox's heightened security by being height challenged and finds he's not alone in wanting Family Guy off the air. Oh boy, they're going for the sacred cows now.
I'm going to use fear to get them to do what I want.
Isn't that like terrorism?
No, it isn't like terrorism. It is terrorism.
Wow, even Wile E. Coyote saw that anvil being dropped.
What's the worst thing you've ever done?
I stole the head off a statue once.
Wow, that's pretty hardcore. Jeez. That's like this one time when I didn't like a kid, so I ground his parents up into chili and fed it to him.
You got it, man.
And heck, kid, I don't think he's yet tried to use Passion of the Christ to wage a new war against the Jewish.
Can't you force the Family Guy writing staff not to write anything about Muhammad?
Couldn't you throw them in prison?
Look, the fact of the matter is the Family Guy writing staff is protected by something called the First Amendment.
And what exactly is this First Amendment, Mr. President?
Well, that guy's from Fox News. Or maybe TMZ.
I really don't want to see Family Guy go off the air. I love that show.
I'll do everything I can.
I mean, I know it's just joke after joke, but I like that. At least it doesn't get all preachy and up its own ass with messages, you know?
This guy clearly never watched All Dogs Go to Heaven.
My father worked for a newspaper in my native country of Denmark. His newspaper showed an image of Muhammad and 2 days later, terrorist suicide bombed his building.
Oh, come on, guys. You really believe that? You think the Danes are all fat and ugly like us Americans? Everyone knows the Scandinavians are hot like this. Cartman is taken deep into the office, and it's here we learn the sordid truth about the Family Guy writers.
Family Guy is written by manatees?
The manatees choose an idea ball and swim it over to the joke combine on the other side of the tank. Laundry, date, winning, Mexico, Gary Coleman. A perfect Family Guy joke!
That actually makes sense.
Having been told that the manatees will stop working if any of the idea balls are removed from the tank, Cartman figures the best course of action now is to secretly remove some of the balls from the tank, and sure enough, it's manatees on strike.
I'm pulling the Muhammad episode, you got that? And if you all don't want to work tomorrow, you can just find other jobs.
We know of this great writer who's a can't-miss project, Wellesley Wild. We'll hire him, and he'll take Family Guy to places you've never seen.
Get out of my way or I'll kick your ass! Let this be our final battle. Ah! Ow! Ow! Stop it! Kyle, that's too hard! Ah! Kyle, stop it! Ow! Quit it! Quit it! Kyle!
Yeah, I'm sending this footage to some of my fellow wrestling fans. They'll never complain about a WWE Divas match again. As Kyle and Cartman purse-slap each other across the entire Fox studio, we eventually find out the Fox control room was designed by NATO. And you know what? Given the people who run Fox, I find that believable. Now over at NBC, I'll bet you they're still using film projectors and beta cassettes. I think their computers still run on COBOL.
But if you censor out Muhammad, then soon you'll have to censor out more. No gay speeches, Kyle! If you don't show Muhammad, then you've made a distinction between what is okay to poke fun at and what isn't. Either it's all okay, or none of it is.
Show that again.
You've made a distinction between what is okay to poke fun at and what isn't. Either it's all okay, or none of it is.
Show that again.
Either it's all okay, or none of it is.
So yeah, Time to point out exactly why I had to review this. This episode was originally released in April 2006 in direct response to the outrage that the Danish newspaper the Jutland Post was making political cartoons depicting Mohammed, and numerous Western media outlets actually supported the censorship of the image out of the fear of offending Muslim extremists. And now, once again showing that those who don't study even recent history will repeat it, here we are again, with all the major movie studios in the United States refusing to air the Seth Rogen film The Interview because of its negative depiction of one of the worst examples of a tyrannical despot mixed with a whiny, spoiled brat to ever be spawned. And it just got worse, as when numerous independent theaters who were going to show the film were banned from doing so by Sony, they responded by saying they would instead show Team America World Police, and then Paramount banned them from showing that! Because suddenly, North freaking Korea is the country we all have to be caving in to demands with. Because how many times has appeasing a dictator worked? Oh yeah, never! So once again, a message like what Kyle Brobzlovsky is saying has to be said by someone. And how ironic is it that it takes someone like two people who started a cartoon show just to be as offensive and annoying as possible could make the best argument against such censorship? Here's the capper. It's said that Trey Parker and Matt Stone really don't like Family Guy. And after this episode, they got letters of praise from the creators of The Simpsons and King of the Hill saying they don't like Family Guy either. But think about this. Despite them clearly not liking the show and constantly poking insults at it throughout this two-parter, they still used it as an example as to why free speech and comedy should not be censored in the wake of threats and protests. This is why I had to review this episode now, because you all needed to see it and be reminded of it now, because no one else seems to have the balls to tell a whiny little biatch like Kim Jong-un to
know your damn role and shut your damn mouth.
Family Guy goes on air as planned. Uncensored.
Yes! No! No, I hate Family Guy!
Remember the time I got a salmon helmet from Muhammad while wearing a toga? Coming, Muhammad.
Yeah, that wasn't a joke. After this episode was produced and had Kyle giving that strong, impassioned speech against censorship, Comedy Central actually tried to wreck the whole thing by doing exactly what the episode was speaking out against, with Trey and Matt simply finding a way to make the network into the bad guys. Let's recap. This is the network that won't mind a show making a joke about a self-inflicted miscarriage to avoid a bestiality pregnancy, but making a depiction of Mohammed for the express purpose of standing up against censorship had to be censored. No! No!
سلطتهم ونظامهم هو اعترافنا بما وقعوه من اتفاقات المخالفة بل المتصادمة مع الشريعة.
Hello, I am American. I am American too. We like to crap on each other.
Wow. That was actually made with better quality than half the stuff on YouTube.
معنى الخطير في قبول دخول هذه المجالس العلمانية باتفاقات الاستسلام بين السلطة وإسرائيل.
So that was the South Park episode Cartoon Wars. And my take on it? The plot does require some characters to act like morons, and not the ones who are morons, in order to get moving, but ultimately, it does its job in ridiculing everything that has happened in recent years regarding censorship and cowardice when it comes to entertainment. No, Eric, giving in to people who think they can make other people in other countries bow to their will just because they're too thin-skinned, that's wrong. That's wrong! And in the wake of Sony and Paramount caving into the whining and threats of a spoiled brat of a dictator, comedy, ridicule, and messages like this need to be shown more than ever. This is where I will give Trey Parker and Matt Stone the credit they deserve. When they don't feel the need to rely on sophomoric humor, they can be brilliant at parody and sending social messages through comedy. Which is not as easy as it looks, otherwise everyone might do it rather than just rant on Tumblr. I'm still going to say that overall, I don't like South Park. And whenever they or any other show does something that I don't think is entertaining or makes any sense, I will call them out on it. Because as a critic, that's my job. But no matter how offensive I think something is that airs on South Park, Family Guy, or even freaking Brickleberry, I will never say that it needs to be pulled just because it's offensive. It should be pulled if the majority of the public doesn't like it and doesn't want to watch the show because of it. They should not be legally prohibited just because one person or a small group of people make threats towards it. Like I've said before, the only thing worse than a show that sucks is being denied the opportunity to discover that it sucks. I will give Sony credit for relenting and allowing the interview to air online and in the independent theaters. It's just too bad that it had to escalate into something like this in order for it to happen. In the meantime, it's time to strike back here. Are we all set? Stand by to fire in 3, 2, 1! Well, King Dong, who's bitch, he's a big fat bitch, he's the biggest bitch in the whole wide world. He's a stupid bitch, if everyone's bitch, he's a bitch too wild up. Boys and girls, shut your goddamn mouth, Rowdy! On Monday, he's a bitch, on Tuesday, he's a bitch, on Tuesday, he's a bitch. On Sunday, there is no doubt, he's super king and may it be That'll do. Have you ever met old King Don? He's a big fat bitch if there ever was. He's a bitch, he's a super bitch, he's a super bitch. King Don's a bitch and he's just a dirty bitch.